Abby.
Live from the studio, I'm Jimmy Selesky.
I'm Eric Glazer. And we got just a solo cast tonight.
Yes, we do. Burning that cheap. Look at
Me
this.
and the boy.
You guys can't see this, but we're burning like cheap incense right now, and you can see that little straggly part there. That does not happen with your incense.
It's carcinogens.
That's the carcinogens, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, you got some bum incense, dude.
I know. Joe, I knew. He got it when he was in high school, and I feel like you can only get bum incense when you're in high school, dude. That's probably the incense
That's
I would
like
have gotten
mall
to.
kiosk incense.
Yeah.
Or like head shop incense.
Yeah. I remember my ex used to have incense in her room, but she never burned it the entire time we were dating.
Damn, dude.
So
You fucked up somehow.
I know. Something about
She never opened up and lit the incense.
Exactly, dude. We could have had such better discussions, I'm sure. But I can't really shit on what Joe got because I wouldn't have done much better.
Also, it's like not shitty. It's not like the worst, you know?
Yeah, I'm kind of blaming my headache on that, but I think in reality it's that birthday cake bang that's really fucking bothering me.
That's definitely it.
It's weird because when I took the first sip, I was like, this is good. I was like, ooh, this is good. And then I took my second sip, I was like, this is not good. What was I thinking on that first sip?
Yeah, it just doesn't sound like a good flavor.
Yeah.
Birthday cake, because that's like in vodka form, it makes me want to puke.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's an energy drink form?
They call it Pinnacle Whipped in vodka form,
Fuck that.
if it's by Pinnacle. But this is no good. How does that sweet to you, though?
Sweet tea's okay. It's not bad. It's
Yeah.
it tastes like a weird, like Arizona.
Mm-hmm. I kind of respect Bang in a way because they really upheld the long-standing tradition of shitty tasting energy drinks, which Red Bull and Monster gave up a long time ago.
They gave up. They actually kind of went good. Or maybe it's just like those are the only ones that we had access to and we drank them until we liked it.
Yeah.
Almost like beer, where
Yeah.
it's like an acquired taste.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, Bang reminds me of like Four Loko, but without any of the alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's like a really shitty flavor and you're just drinking it because of the effect.
Do you think that it's like a marketing tactic? Because I remember like Four Loko is the same way, where they would say like whenever a new energy drink comes out, they always say like, "Oh, this one like makes you fucking crazy," and you know what I mean? Like every energy drink, whenever they say that, they always like pitch it in that way. You know?
I mean, they pitch it in that way, and then there's usually like a news article where someone's like dead because they drank too many bangs.
I think
and then that kind of gets it popular too.
That's why I started drinking it. I was like, I need something that's gonna get me so hyped I could die if I'm gonna do the podcast.
I want to die.
I want to die.
We have to go viral.
But no, I've been wondering that because I don't think like as much as the folklore surrounding Four Loko existed, I really don't think it was actually that crazy of a drink.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it coincided with it was the first time we started drinking really. Like we were like 21 when it came out.
It was like definitely a dangerous combination. Like especially the original Four Loko, where it was like, I think they like neutered it to like a quarter the amount in what we drank. Like eventually.
Yeah. But then like we had like I feel like we were always good on like we would literally like split cans, so I guess maybe we never really tried that hard.
Yeah, we never
do
did
it.
like Edward 44 Loco hands or whatever.
I've never done that ever actually.
Yeah, me neither.
I want to try it. But Scott did get Ocho Loco that one night. Shouts out Scott Albrecht, previous guest last week or last week and a half ago.
Last episode.
But the older I get, the more I wonder like, was that really because he drank 2 Four Locos or was it because Scott's always kind of been a lightweight? I've seen Scott freak out drunk several times.
Yeah.
Several times. Only one of which was Ocho Loco related. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of factors on that one night. That was where we were just like hanging out in the parking lot, right?
Of West Village, yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck did we do?
I remember we started fights with like he tried to start. No, he didn't try to start fights. He was just like being crazy, and people interpreted that as us trying to fight them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I guess is kind
I
of.
mean,
how
it was
all
definitely
fights get
weird
started.
because, like, you know, the only people we were interacting with were just getting out of their cars or going to their cars. So I can definitely see now, looking back, I can see their point of view.
Yeah.
being like, yeah, this sucks.
This
But
sucks.
for us, it was kind of
But they
fun.
were also probably Ocho Loco too, and they were about to drive.
No
So
bueno.
in a way, we kind of saved them a little bit, or Scott did. I didn't really do anything to help.
Yeah, I don't really remember it too well. I just remember hanging out in that garage for a while.
I got I told you. Did you see what I posted on Instagram about the pet of the month thing?
No. Well, I did, but I didn't really understand it.
I was wondering when I posted, I was like, is anybody gonna get this? Because this is I thought it was a very funny situation, but there was no way to like communicate it adequately on an Instagram story. So I was like, people are just gonna see this and not understand that it's actually
Well, I'll tell you what I think happened.
okay.
You entered like a pen of the month competition at Zach's building.
Yes, the Avalon.
Okay. And then you won it. What? Why?
I don't know.
And you put a made up fish.
So I had this. I walk into the Avalon. It's after the gym. Oh shit, that was cool. I walk in the Avalon. It's after the gym. It's about 3 weeks ago. And we're fucking around in the lobby. I think we made ourselves a couple Keurig like cappuccinos or whatever. And I walk over to this like table, and there's a picture of this like beautiful dog. Not really. It was an all right dog. It was like
Yeah.
an all right dog. Apparently, that's all you needed to do to be pet of the month. And so they have these papers, and it was like you can fill out to submit to be next month's pet of the month.
Yeah.
And it says name, breed, favorite foods, and special skills. And so I was like, okay. So I went over and I put down, because I just cleaned out and got my aquarium ready to go. And I used to have this fish when I was a little kid named Zippy, who's one of my most prolific pets, because we got him from a carnival, and he was a goldfish. I got him with that ring tossing game. And
I've heard of Zippy before.
Yeah, Zippy. He's a classic pet. Like, I've had Zippy meant more to me. I mean, I cried so much when he died. My mom cried so much when he died, and we resuscitated him like 3 times. And like some of the biggest miracles in my life when he came back to life. It was amazing.
Wow.
We got him. We put him in a. We brought him home in a bag. We got like one of those classic fish bowls, like a classic. I don't even think they make classic fish bowls anymore. I think you can only get like the cubic aquariums. You know what I mean?
Wait, hold on. How did you resuscitate a fish?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that, bro. So it is kind of crazy. So it's actually crazy. So
Not just once, 2, 3 times.
that fish should have never been alive ever, dude. That fish had 9 lives. So I win him, and I get this bag, like you go from a carnival, this little fish, and he would just like swim around. So I was like, I want to call him Zippy. We come home, we go stop at PetSmart on the way back. My mom gets a little fish bowl. We put him in there, no filter, no nothing, like none of the stuff you're supposed to do. You
Yeah,
just-
this is like your first fish.
yeah, straight tap
Also,
water.
your mom probably didn't even expect it to like live
Of course not.
past like 2 weeks.
Of course not. My mom
Yeah.
thought like this is just gonna be like just something my little kid wanted. It'll probably die in 3 days, and I'll have to explain to him why if you get something from PetSmart, if you win something at a carnival and put it in straight tap water, it's gonna die eventually.
Yeah.
So we go there, we put him in there, and we get 3 other fish, and these fish from PetSmart all wind up dying within the first like 2 weeks, but Zippy stays alive.
Wow.
And so he winds up being our only fish for like a while. And then I go to the reservoir with my dad, and we find a crayfish, like one of those little mini lobster things. And we're like, let's just throw him in the tank with Zippy.
Nothing could go wrong.
What could go wrong? And so we had like this little barrel ornament, and the crayfish clippers crawls directly into the barrel ornament. And so Zippy's swimming around, and all this crayfish would do all day is peek out of the thing and try to clip at Zippy. So we called him Clippers. He's trying to kill our other fish. That's adorable. So Zippy, for like 2 weeks, has to just not ever go down there. And he just
Yeah.
stays chilling around the top.
A
And Clippers.
violent game of whack-a-mole.
And so finally, we get another like little terrarium looking thing to put Clippers in. We fill it up. We give him another barrel thing because he liked the barrel thing. And he was a fun pet because I would find like little cave crickets in my basement and just toss them in the tank and watch them like fucking devour them. It was awesome.
Damn.
It was like my favorite hobby, honestly. And then side story, the first time he like molted, we thought he died because we just found like a shell curled
Yeah.
up in the corner. We're like, no, Clippers is dead. And then I like reached down to get the shell, and then Clippers popped out of the barrel. I was like, oh no, dude. I'm less smart than my goldfish right now.
Yeah, Zippy never got clipped.
Zippy never got clipped, dude. I got clipped. And so he had become like a soft shell crab for like 2 weeks at a time. It was kind of dope. He wound up getting pretty big. He wound up getting like as big as this lighter.
Wow.
Like a big lighter. It was cool. And so years go by, we get more and more fish, and we keep putting them in the bowl, and they just keep dying, and Zippy stays alive. Finally, we're like, you know what? We're getting
Just
Zippy.
keeps like eating their souls to stay alive.
To stay alive, dude.
Jesus.
So finally, we splurge and get Zippy like a real aquarium. So we get this big 20-gallon aquarium just for this one fish, and we keep him in there. And then one day we come downstairs, and Zippy is on his side on the top of the water, which I think only goldfish die that way, because I've had millions of fish die since then, and they always die at like the bottom or something, but Zippy died at the top. And I think what was happening was he was using his gill to try to get as much oxygen out of the air from the surface as he could, because we didn't have like one of those air bubbler things.
Oh.
So then we got an air bubbler thing, and then he came back to life, and we were like, okay, cool. Then he started doing some other shit where he just wouldn't move, and this was like a year later. We had this fish for like 4 years.
Oh my God. How big did it get?
He got like, I don't know, maybe I don't even know. Maybe he got like maybe this long.
Damn.
It was solid. They grow according to the size of the tank.
Yeah, yeah.
So like depending on how big your tank, they'll just go to exactly that size, which is kind of cool. Because goldfish are just carp.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Yeah.
Well, some people think that like koi fish are kind of like just big goldfish.
I think they are. Because aren't koi fish just Japanese carp?
I guess. I'm not really sure.
Well, either way.
But I think they have the same concept where like they grow to whatever size thing they're
Yeah.
in.
They're the most disgusting tasting, by the way. You can catch carp in like gunpowder and shit, and they're just gross. They're cute when they're small, but when they get big, they're just disgusting. They only eat
They're
off
really
the bottom.
oily, right?
Yeah, they're disgusting.
Yeah,
But
they
s-
look like kind of like chicken nuggets. Goldfish.
Yeah, they do. Very cute. And so Zippy, we think, is dead, and my mom is like legit crying and everything like that. And then she finds on like the internet, they're like, oh well, if you put him in the freezer and like just leave him there overnight, I don't know what happens. I don't know. My mom just saw this. She was like, let's just try it. So we get
What?
Zippy out. We put him in like a Ziploc bag of water. We put him in the freezer. And we open up the freezer the next morning. Well, we put him in the freezer in the morning. At night, we open up the freezer, and he's like, it's like fucking frozen. It's ridiculous. He's frozen in his eyes. Walt Disney style, dude. and so we take him downstairs, and we put this block of ice with a fish in it in the aquarium, and we go to bed. And I'm thinking, dude, there's no fucking way this could ever work. And I wake up the next morning, and I'm so sad. And I walk downstairs. I'm just expected like to just see this dead, thawed out fish. And I come downstairs, and Zippy's just fucking swimming around in the tank again, dude.
Okay, wait a second.
Dude, I
Are you
swear.
sure your mom didn't replace Zippy?
Dude, I swear to God, she did not replace Zippy, dude. He was
Okay.
in. He was
Like
in.
he still had like ice on him.
Dude, he fucking somehow we froze him. And he fucking came back to life. Like fucking Pet Cemetery or something, dude.
Dude, oh my God.
It's fucking it's a very unbelievable story. But
I'm
anyway,
trying to Google this to see if I can find
look
this
up
out.
freezing fish, dude. Look up freezing your goldfish to resuscitate him or something. So he came back to life, and then, you know, years later, he eventually did die, and it was very, very sad. I think I cried more over him, easily more than any other pet, besides like my dogs and stuff. Like, I didn't cry that much when Clipper just died. I was just kind of bummed about it because then I didn't have anything to do with my cave crickets. But anyway, so I'm in Zach's apartment, and I get this application, and I'm like, well, this is kind of like, you know, they say pet of the month, but then they have something like breed. And so it's like, do they even call different types of cats different breeds? Or is it just dogs?
I guess so.
Like, nobody ever says what
But also,
breed
I
is
feel
your
like people
cat.
don't. Yeah, people don't really care about cat breeds that much. I guess.
Because there's only like two types, I feel like. There's like, I mean, there's like two main types. There's like the gray one and then like the orange one. It's like and black ones, black
ones.
cats.
There's like white ones with spots.
Yeah, but those are very rare, dude. That's like I rarely see those. Every cat
Yeah.
I ever see is a gray cat.
For sure.
And then occasionally you'll see like an orange one, and then like an older woman might have a black cat. But like I feel like all the other ones, like Siamese cats, like the fucking ones with no hair and shit. Like, have you ever seen one of those in real life?
No.
Exactly. I feel like they're only in movies.
Yeah, yeah.
But so I'm filling out this application. I immediately think like I'm gonna fill it out for Zippy, my favorite fish.
Also, I looked it up. Apparently, you can do that.
Yeah,
That's so crazy.
you can do that.
Yeah, that's
we
fucking
did
wild.
it. And that was like old internet too. That was like that information was out in 2006, which means somebody before the internet realized that you could do that. Just took a fucking chance. Like in the 90s was like,
But also, I guess it makes sense because it's like, what do fish do when the water they're in freezes? Like, I guess some of them just survive that way.
that's true, because we were talking about koi fish, and like when you have a pond over the winter, that shit freezes and all the fish just freeze, and then when it thaws out, they're like good to go.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I guess that makes sense then. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, it worked. So I'm filling out this thing, and I get to breed, and I was like, fish. Let's put fish as breed. And then I get to the bottom. It was like special skills, and I said, can breathe underwater. And then I submitted it. I walked up to the lady. I said, hey, are you guys still taking applications for Pet of the Month? And she was like, yeah. 'Cause she knew I didn't live there.
Yeah.
And then she took it anyway. And I just figured, like, I was saying, Zach was like, dude, what are you doing? This is retarded. And I was like, dude, come on. It's, if anything, it just gave me like a little kick. That's all I expected. I was just like, this is stupid, but it was worth it for me. And then 2 weeks later, Zach sends me a screenshot of an email, and she was like, I think your friend submitted an application for Pet of the Month for a fish. And I just want you guys to know that I was laughing so hard, and I decided to make him the Pet of the Month automatically, whether it's real or not. And then she was like, and if he's real, you can send us pictures. And I was like, okay, now it's time to get a fish.
Yeah.
I need to get a fish.
And I need to name him Zippy.
Exactly. So I go to the store that day, and I pick up 3 fish, and I took a picture and sent it to Zach. And Zach said that, like, we co-parent the fish or something. And he stays at my place. But, like, it's cool now because now there's going to be a picture of my fish at the Avalon, which is an apartment building that I would never have enough money to live at. But I have just
But
the
now
right
your
enough.
fish is there.
Yeah, I have just the right enough money to have a Pet of the Month there. So that was good. So I took a picture of it and sent it. And then within, like, 2 days, one of my fish died and my snail. Don't buy snails from PetSmart. They never live. They don't live.
You
But
should get one of those little, like, they look like little catfish, and they suck the algae off the walls of the tank.
algae eaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dom was saying we should get one of those too, but I don't really like those too much. They like, that's all they do. They just always are stuck.
Yeah, but then you don't have to clean the tank.
Dude, pro tip: all fish are algae eaters. Algae eater fish just try too hard. That's like all they do.
Yeah.
Regular fish, what, they're not eating algae? They're eating algae.
They are, but not at the rate that the algae eater is.
I watch my fish, and I feel like the majority of what they do, because I don't know what the hell else
Suck
they're
on
doing.
the walls of the tank.
They just fucking go up, and that's all fish do all day. They just kind of swim around. That's all they do. That's literally all they're allowed to do, or they're able to do. But so we got 3 regular fish, and that's why I got a snail, because snails eat algae, and they also stick to the side of things. But at least with that, you're looking at something with like a cool shell or whatever.
True.
But I don't even know where my snail is. I haven't seen him in 4 days. I don't know where he is. It's weird that even in a 20-gallon tank, I will lose a fish for like a week.
Yeah.
Like
So
I'll
they're
just
chilling.
I'll just be like, dude, I haven't seen that snail in a week. I think he's gone. And then one day I'll just look over and he'll just be like on top of a fucking tree or something. Like, damn, dude, he's still alive.
Yeah, I guess you're climbing that.
Who knew?
You knew it took you a while, huh?
Yeah. But they do eat dead. When I was at PetSmart, it was kind of weird. It was kind of gross. I went there and there was this one dead fish in the tank. And then there was like 6 snails all over him just eating him and just moving around. And the dead
Ooh.
fish was just like, and the other snails were just like,
Jeez.
it was gross, dude.
Maybe that's why you never find your fish when they die.
I am starting to think that's what it is, because I don't remember this ever.
I remember my snails getting huge. My snails got ripped.
I think one of
They
the
started taking out the live ones.
dude, I feel like I think one of the reasons why I loved Zippy so much and why it affected me so much when he died is because he's one of the few fishes one of the few fish I've seen dead, where I actually like, I would say probably about 1 out of every 3 fish that I get disappears. I don't know where he goes. Like, I get like many fish. We've talked about it before on the podcast.
Yeah.
I get fish like I get like salmon from the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like regular fish and pet fish that are just gonna make it 2 weeks just so I can have them in my tank. I'm a terrible
you get them
fish
like
owner.
flowers.
Yeah, I'm a terrible fish owner. But like, I think one of the reasons I don't get that attachment is because like I've only flushed like a certain percentage of them, dude. And the one fish I felt kind of bad because he died within like 2 days of getting it, and I was just like,
This doesn't count.
yeah, this is not
I'm
on
gonna
me.
go return this and get a
Yeah.
different one.
Yeah.
This one's broken.
You can actually do that.
I figured.
You
yeah.
can, which I feel is weird. I just feel like that's morbid. You know, you just show up with a dead fish, and it's like $2. You know,
Yeah.
I have those conundrums where it's like, you know,
Something happened over there.
oh no, that's just
Okay, cool.
Adobe.
Are you doing Logic?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm
I
not
just don't
recording
see-
on Logic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
just using
okay.
it to go through the thing.
Okay, tight.
What the fuck was I saying though? Oh, talking about just like bringing fish back and stuff. I went back the next day to get another fish to replace him, and then both tanks that I got them from the day before were completely empty.
They like all died.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Jesus.
I don't know what they do. So I was like, maybe that was just a contaminated tank or whatever.
Maybe some snails got in there.
Yeah. Exactly. But there's like certain things like $2. Like I got hit for a withdrawal fee, which kind of pissed me off. I like, you know how like bills will hit auto withdrawal and then like checks take a certain amount of time to clear. So it's like if it like lapses for like 1 hour,
Yeah.
you get hit with a withdrawal fee. So at first I was like, I guess it like lapsed or something like that. And then I noticed that on my checking account it said $33 withdrawal from credit card, like overdraft withdrawal, which
Oh
I
my
thought meant
gosh.
overdraft fee, but it didn't. $33 was just the amount I needed to get from my credit card, which is linked to my checking account to cover whatever was over withdrawn.
Okay,
So at that
nice.
point I was thinking like, okay, cool. You just took it from my credit card. Then 3 days later, I got hit with a $12 withdrawal fee, which I thought was kind of bullshit because I was like, dude, you just got it from another account. Like, why is this a problem to you? It was $12.50.
What bank are you with?
M&T.
Huh. Yeah, I'm with the credit union. I don't get those kind of issues. It's kind of nice.
It's like, I feel like, I don't know if maybe they just lessen the withdrawal fee fine if you have it linked to another account, but I think it's kind of like calculated where they made the withdrawal fine like less so that less people would complain about it. Because I was like, if this was $35, I'd be very like irritated and
Yeah.
I'd call them up and I'd be like, let's get this waived. This is my first time. But since it's $12, I tried calling once and then they said like, oh, this branch is closed. And I was just like,
Yeah,
all right,
fuck that.
that's the extent that I care.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call up another branch. I want to talk to somebody I know. You know, if I call up another branch, you're going to be like, dude, it's $12. I'm almost embarrassed to like even ask, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But I still feel like it's wrong, you know? You got it from another account. You got the money either way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And for $2.
For $2.
Damn.
Exactly. Exactly. If I would have just bought one less fish.
Yeah, if you just got the change from your car.
So, yeah, that was,
Imagine paying for a fish with fucking change, just counting it out.
I've actually been paying for a lot of stuff with change because I have so much change in my car from random stuff. Hold up. Is that window shut? Can you shut that window? Yeah. Oh, it is shut. Never mind. I buy like gallons of milk and stuff from CVS and things like that with
Yeah.
like nickels and stuff.
Okay, I mean, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm sure that's common at the CVS I go to too. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's right in the middle of everything.
Well,
so.
also, like, well, I guess it probably doesn't have self checkout. I feel like most stuff, if it's self checkout, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll fucking dink a couple quarters in there.
Yeah, yeah. But I only use quarters. So then what happens is I just go through all my quarters and there's like a million nickels
Every
and
other
dimes.
thing,
yeah.
yeah.
And then I never get a chance to use them.
Yeah, you should just do the fucking Coinstar thing, if that's even a thing anymore.
I got my brother to do that for me. He was like, I'm going to the mall to get my coins changed. And for the longest time, I refused to use Coinstar because I heard they charge a price. They're like, they charge you a certain amount.
Yeah, they charge a certain amount, but it's better than having to fucking do it all yourself.
Yeah, and it's like a percentage, and it's like, so most times when you do it, what's the most coins you're ever gonna, you know, bring? Like $60. I keep it in like a jar like this size.
Yeah.
And that's like if it's like all fucking silver dollars. Like you might get $60, but
Or
then I
just
would
like mostly quarters.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be like maybe $3. They charge 5%, and I still would be like, nope, I'm spending the next 3 hours of my day rolling coins.
Yeah, fuck
And just
that.
wasting all that fucking time. So finally, I was like, you know what? I'm never gonna get around this. I got Dom to do it, and I had like 34. My cousin had one of those big like water cooler things full of change, and it apparently was like $8,000 in there.
What the fuck?
I know.
Holy shit.
That's fucking insane. I could not believe that shit.
Gotta start one of those, dude. Start it now.
Yeah, that's my
In
next
20
big investment.
years, dude. $8,000.
Yeah, dude. Matt, Sig got Matt like a piggy bank from Puerto Rico, but it was like one of those classic ones that you have to actually like.
Smash with a hammer.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
kind of, I didn't even know they made those anymore.
I always thought that was just like a cartoon thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think I had something like that as a kid, but I think it was plastic. And it just had like a little like thing on the bottom to empty it out.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that like the regular ones had that, and then they just did that for like dramatic effect and things.
Yeah. I actually did break one when I was a kid, and I don't even think it was one that I was supposed to break. It was like perfectly.
There's nothing in it.
I had like, I mean, I've been saving up change for like 2 months, which when you're a kid is like,
Yeah, it's
nothing.
like $5.
But also it was like
That's
$5.
everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can buy like 2 packs of Pokemon cards. Right
Oh
now.
yeah, dude. We used to have the Cedar Deli, the corner store, and I would just go up there and get like a cheeseburger sub and everything. So it was worth it back then. Not so much anymore. The fuck else? Oh, another thing that I posted on Instagram that I didn't think anybody got was my mom got me high performance boxers for Christmas. We didn't.
What does
speak-
that mean?
I don't know. All I know is there's two things I know. So I get them on Christmas Day. We didn't talk about this on the podcast after Christmas break because we were talking about way more relevant and important stuff.
Yeah.
But now is the time to talk about my high performance RBX boxers. As I've gotten older, I've noticed that like I can't really trust my mom to buy me like stuff for clothes anymore because she just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
You know. And for the longest time, I relied exclusively on her for clothes.
Yeah. Well, because she's like shopping for you like she'd shop for Tony.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
she
it's like,
yeah,
Mom, no.
it's like, Mom,
That's the last. I don't want to look like Dad.
people are gonna see these underwear, Mom. You have to consider that. You have to consider that.
Wait, what kind were they? Like tighty whities?
They're black boxer briefs, but the thing I noticed that was weird about them is they don't have a fly.
Huh?
They have no fly.
Is it like one of those things where you have to like it's over here?
No,
It's kind of off in the cut, and
It's-
you have to like pull it, and then there's another layer, and you have to pull that.
no. It's literally like imagine like men's panties.
Huh?
It's just like girl underwear, but for guys.
Interesting.
I
Maybe
think
that's
it's
their
for-
performance.
I know, which spurred this huge thing because I went into the studio, I was wearing them, and it was a band rehearsal, and I said to Joe and John, I was like, dude, my underwear doesn't have a fly. How am I supposed to piss? And then they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, you know, like when you piss, you open up the fly, go through the zipper, and they were like, no one pisses like that, dude. And I was like, what do you mean no one pisses like that? That's why the fly exists. They were like, no, dude, you just go and you take off you unbutton and unzip, and then you just pull your dick over the underwear. Like, is that what you do?
I do both.
You do both.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone didn't just use the fly. And so I made an Instagram poll. Turns out most people don't. It's like 80% of people don't use the fly,
Yeah.
which I thought it was going to be like a big funny joke when I was like, dude, can you believe it? Fly.
use the fly.
How am I supposed to use, how am I supposed to take a piss? And it turns out I've been pissing wrong for my entire life. And I had to find out like that. High performance boxers for my mom for Christmas. If it wasn't for my mom buying that, I would not know how to piss, I guess. I don't know how to piss. It's never adequately potty trained. But
Well,
that-
here's the thing too. Now with quarantine, I've definitely been doing it. Pull just everything down, just because I've been wearing so many like sweatpants and shit. Like I think that's the thing. I think you're a jeans dude, and that's just in your reference all the time. You're like always got a zip. Because if you're not wearing jeans, you're not wearing pants at all. And then,
Yes.
Like
yes. Well, hold up. Because I think this is a class thing.
class thing.
Because think about it. If you have like a good job, then you're probably like, if you have like a really good job, then you are wearing like a dress shirt and dress pants, and your dress shirt's probably tucked into your dress pants.
Yeah, you're definitely zipping.
You're zipping.
Yeah.
But poor, broke
That's what I'm saying.
losers,
I do both.
You do both,
I
depending
do
on
both, depending on how I'm dressed.
what class you're in that day. Joe doesn't even have a job. So Joe is
Good,
gonna
shitty incense. Doesn't even have a job.
cheap fucking incense, no job, unemployed. He pisses like a fucking loser. John, he just got a job. He probably hasn't learned. He just got a good job, I'll say. Before he had like a shitty job like me playing music. Now he has like a real job, and so now he's gonna act like, or actually he's still. I guess I don't know. He still pisses like a loser, but me, for whatever reason, I piss like I'm rich, dog.
At least you didn't post like, yeah, why does everyone just pulls their pants all the way down to the floor and pees, right? Like, at least it wasn't on that level.
Well, that's what I thought they meant when they said they pull their pants down. I was like, wait a second.
no,
you
just
guys,
like pull, like literally just grab the edge of it and like rip it down, flop everything out over top.
it was kind of like disheartening because I really thought that I was going to win that argument, and then when I saw the votes come in, it was just like every dude, even guys that I respected, were saying over.
Name names, dude.
Fucking, actually, it was cool. Alex said he pisses through the pants.
Okay, there you go.
John's brother said he pisses through the pants,
Ooh.
which I screenshotted and sent.
Through the pants. Sounds like you're pissing your pants.
A bunch of girls voted because I specifically addressed the question to men. Because girls
Yeah.
have no place in this debate.
Girls
really.
always pull.
Yeah, they always pull.
No
But
other option.
every girl voted for through.
Throw,
they, you
to
know.
throw it off.
Yeah, throw it off.
Yeah.
And even with all the
Well, but
illegal
also-
votes, I still lost.
Okay. I was going to say, I think they're just supporting you at that point. Because you were voting for through.
Yeah, of
You're
course.
voting for through. They voted with you.
Yeah, but they didn't know what I voted for.
Okay.
You can only see who voted for what after. But I think they knew.
But they knew from your previous context of
They knew.
posting the performance boxers and saying, I'm pissed off I can't put my dick through these.
That definitely keyed him into where I was trying to go with that. I think I know what he wants me to vote for. But it kind of brought up, I had like a theory, and the theory was when you're a little kid, when you go out to a restaurant, or like even like when you don't go out to a restaurant, a lot of times for the most part, when you're being potty trained by your mom, she's going to teach you how to pee the way that a woman would think a man should pee. So I remember when I was a little kid, my mom would, obviously when you're a really little kid and you're at a restaurant, you go into the women's bathroom with your mom.
Yeah.
Takes you there, you pee in the toilet, blah, blah, blah. And I remember she would always make me use toilet paper after I got done peeing. Because that's what women do.
Yeah.
And my mom
I
had
feel
no...
like a lot of boys have to go through that. Luckily, not me.
Your mom didn't give you the toilet paper? She knew?
Not that I remember, but I never had a habit of doing that, no.
Yeah, I did. For like way too long, dude. like literally. And when you talk about it with people, they're like, when you talk about it with a girl, they're like, "Ooh, you guys don't use toilet." They don't know we don't use toilet paper. I don't think
Yeah.
they know that.
I don't think
of
a lot of girls like closely inspect dudes pissing.
Well, that's a problem because because what happens is if you think about it logically, there's no roll of toilet paper at the urinal.
Yeah.
So the fact that women would even think to train their sons to do that means that clearly women haven't been paying attention for years.
Well, but also women don't have urinals. So unless they take the kid into the boys' bathroom, they're not going to know
Which
that.
they won't do.
Yeah.
Okay. But I thought maybe that pulling your pants down was from people who never learned how to not piss like their mom told them to piss.
I can see that.
And that probably...
Dudes who get taught by their dad to pee.
Yeah.
They zipper.
Yeah.
They pee through the pants.
Yes. But then that theory was shattered when John's own brother pissed differently.
Maybe they just fucked up the first time and they fixed it on the second kid.
They got in a big argument where they were like, "Wait, you've been teaching our oldest son to piss wrong? You bought him high performance boxers?"
He's only 8 years old. Bought him high performance boxers.
Yeah, dude, I'm not I'm going to make sure. That's just one of those parenting things you don't think about. That's another example of things we talked about, things you have to unlearn. You have to unlearn how to pee the way your mom taught you.
I don't, but you do.
I still do.
Yeah, do you still wipe?
Do I still? Oh, with toilet paper?
Yeah.
No, but
after
I
you pee.
think my mom getting me those flyless boxers was her way of trying to be like, you're not doing it the way I taught you, Jim. We spent so much time when you were a little kid, and then you just went haywire with the way you do it.
You gotta mod those boxers. You gotta install your own zip front
Yeah, dude.
button fly.
I kind of, I hated on it at first, but now I kind of like it because you never have like the fly problems. Sometimes like,
Yeah, where it just opens.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's low performance.
That
That's
is
low
low
performance, dude.
Well, that's why if it doesn't have a button, I like how like those ones where it's like a 2-layer, where like you have to open both sides to
Yeah.
get it out.
Yeah, those are good too.
Because then you run no risk of the open.
Mm-hmm.
Just that was only an issue for me when I was growing up and like going through my growth spurts and shit though, just because my clothes were just getting too small.
Yeah, and
And
the
they
flies
just,
are just like,
Yeah, just fucking opening up, dude. I would straight up, I think for like all of 10th grade, all of my pairs of boxers were like that. Just always rub the front of my dick against the zipper by accident.
oh man. Yeah, dude. So that was revealing for me, I would say. Definitely something.
Yeah. To get proven wrong.
Yeah, to get proven wrong. To get proven
On
wrong.
the internet,
Yeah.
in public.
Something that I was so sure about. I would have taken that to the grave too. Really, I was literally like, they say something, you learn something new every day, and like, I don't, but I definitely learned something that day. Most days, I think about it as like, do you learn something new every day?
You
I
still
guess-
learn. You can teach an old dog a new trick.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to it. I mean, we had the studio date on Wednesday, and I mean, every time I went to the bathroom, I would unzip my pants and like fiddle around. And I was like, fuck, just throwing me off now. I wore them because I was like, I need high performance boxers for this studio session.
Exactly. Are they like any special like antimicrobial or wick away material?
I don't know any of that stuff. I know wicking is a thing.
Yeah,
and
to get
apparently
like
it
the
does.
sweat.
It's like I think
wicking.
all boxers wick away sweat, right? Don't they?
Yeah, or most of them just like absorb it probably.
Yeah.
Wicking is more trying to like get it away from the area.
They definitely. I think they do that,
Hell yeah.
as far as I know.
Yeah, so that's why she gave you those, because then the pee can get in there. That's
Exactly.
the last little wipe, and it'll
Exactly.
just dribble down your
Yeah.
leg.
Piss wicking technology.
Yeah. And the boxers won't smell like piss, but your legs will.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm wearing them right now.
Yeah, I think I like how we've been talking about this for like the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And like the fucking shit that happened last Wednesday. Like it's in like an hour into the podcast.
This is
We
the
haven't
most
talked about
important things I could think of this week, personally. I don't know if you guys have heard of anything else going on last Wednesday. Anything?
it. Yeah, you had your studio day.
Yeah. I learned how to piss and I got a fish. What else is there?
No, but yeah, that shit was fucking crazy. You invited me to come to the studio, and I was like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Trying to watch these live streams.
Well, at the time when I invited you, I don't think it had popped off at that point. I thought.
Really? Oh
like-
yeah, it was like the day before or something.
No, it was like the day of, but it was like earlier in the day. Like they didn't
Yeah.
storm the Capitol till.
yeah, until
later,
like
right?
3 or 4 o'clock. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think you texted me that, and I was working, and I saw on Twitter that like Kanye and Kim were getting a divorce, and then there's like a rumor that Kanye had his dick sucked by like Jeffree Star, that like YouTube makeup guy.
Oh no, that can't be
And that
true.
was like, yeah, it turned out to be false. But that was like blowing up all morning, and I was like, oh no.
This has got to be the biggest thing.
Exactly.
day.
I was like, this is crazy. And then yeah, I saw like the news was on, and it was like Trump's like rally just ended. And then there was just a giant crowd heading towards the Capitol. And then I just kind of was just like watching that off and on all day.
Yeah.
But looking at some of like the footage that people posted online is so funny because they've just like doxed themselves essentially. Like
Yeah.
they just like gave themselves up for the crime they did.
Oh my god.
Like there was like some lawmaker in, I think it was like West Virginia or something, but he was like front face camera filming himself the whole time as they're like walking up to the doors, and then he like, you know, shot video of them walking like, the door's almost down, we got it, yeah, let's go, let's all get in there, keep going, da, da, da.
Shit.
And then he says his name out loud like in the third person. He's like, David Walker's in Congress, he's in the Capitol building, he's in the Capitol building. And he just kept saying his own name, and then like 2 days ago he got arrested.
You know Brandon Buckingham, right? He was on the podcast before.
Yeah.
He was actually down there filming it because he does all kinds of like kind of like, if anybody's familiar with like Danny Mullen, I think he lives with Danny Mullen out in LA now, and they do kind of like that like street pranking type of shit. And he had a bunch of video. My brother told me the other day that apparently the FBI contacted Brandon and
Jesus
said,
Christ.
yeah, and was like, we need you to turn in all your footage
Holy
of that
shit.
day. And then my first question was immediately, does he have to? Like, but that's not something I would fuck around with.
Oh yeah.
But there's no way I'm emailing back the FBI and be like, come and take it.
Yeah, I wonder how I guess, would they send him like a hard drive to put it on, or do you have to like upload it to their Google Drive?
It's a weird thing because it's like, couldn't he just say like he deleted it, or, you know, I don't fucking know. Like,
Also, like,
because you don't want to be a rat, you know?
yeah, you don't want to be a rat, but also like, I don't know. It's a weird situation because it's like he put himself there. He like went there to get like a YouTube video out of it.
Luckily, he wasn't involved in it.
Yeah,
which
he
is
wasn't
good.
involved with it, and hopefully he didn't like go inside or anything.
No, he didn't. He
Okay,
didn't.
that's good.
But that, if
So
I
I mean, I don't know.
I don't even know what an email from the FBI would look like. I feel like I would open it up and immediately think like, there's no way. Like, it's just gonna be like for re.FBI. I'd be like, yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right. What does he have? What do they want? And then you read that and just like, at that point, like, you know, all my other stupid questions went out the window. I was like, he doesn't have to turn it in. Then I was like, I think
Yeah, just turn it in.
I'm not
dude.
fucking with the FBI, dude.
Yeah,
they
fuck
could
that.
end me.
Yeah, or if they're like, oh, why don't you want to turn it in? You got something to hide, and then they start looking into you. I'd rather just be like, yeah, dude, go for it.
Oh my gosh.
Here you go. This also exonerates me because there's no footage of me inside.
Exactly. Yeah, dude, that was some crazy shit. Everybody kept saying January 6th something was gonna happen. I didn't think it was me that.
Yeah,
Um,
I had no idea any of that shit was even going on.
Well, I didn't know that there was supposed to be a rally. I thought like January 6th to me meant something completely different. I just thought it was like the day that they certify the election for the 34th time. I feel like there's like 17 days that they do that, where I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, they're really gonna do it this. They're really gonna fucking certify it this time.
Yeah. I
And-
mean, that was definitely the thing that was going on that day. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about like Trump having a rally. So when all that shit popped off, I was like, wait, what? Because I saw this video of like some intern. She posted like a video. She was on like the second floor window, like looking out of the building as they're walking over. It was like crazy. It looked like something out of a fucking movie. And it I was talking to Elizabeth about it. I was like, dude, there's like more people that went to his inauguration. Like,
Yeah.
it was insane.
Dude, how many people actually went into the building? Like,
I don't even know. I'm just going off like what it looked like too from the shit I saw.
all
but
I know is what really shook me
I
up
don't know
was
any
when-
numbers.
that like, did you see the video of the woman getting shot?
Yeah,
that was
crazy.
fucking. That shook me the fuck up. I was like, oh my god, it's something you see it in movies, like when people bleed out of their mouths when they get shot. But when I
Yeah.
saw it in real life, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that shit's wild.
Like all I could think about is like, what the fuck is going through that person's head right there? They just got shot.
Yeah.
With a fucking like whatever trench gun or some Call of Duty fucking rifle that only military has.
Yeah.
Just,
Dude, she was going at that door like a fucking zombie though.
I know.
I don't know
I
what
know.
the fuck all that was
I mean,
about.
yeah. I mean, you put yourself in that situation for sure. Just watching that was like, oh my god, that shit is real, dude. Like,
Dude, and then like 2 hours later, all those old fucks walked back in there and were like still bickering about fucking Democrat Republican shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
yeah. It's, oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, this falls definitely in alignment with, you know, what we were talking about last time, which is saying like, is it gonna get better? Or is it gonna get worse? And then that happens, and you're like,
Well, I was wrong.
It seems as if it's not getting any better.
Yeah.
And then, now it's what I think is the strangest thing really is that they're making motions to like impeach Trump, and he's got like 10 days left in the term, and I'm like, why don't we just give it a week and it's all over? I don't
Yeah.
understand the motives behind that.
I haven't really like looked into it that much. I kind of think it's dumb too, because it's also like, why don't you guys just do something better for everyone
Yeah.
instead of this right
Yeah.
now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you just doing this because it's the last time you can complain about him?
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, obviously, now that's out the window too. 'Cause everyone's gonna be able to complain about him for a very long time coming,
For sure.
and kind of rightly, because
Yeah.
that shit was fucking unreal. And it's not just him too. Like, there's so many like Republican congressmen and shit who have been calling for that shit too, and they're like
Calling for
just like the keeping up with like down to the wire, still being like, and yeah, it was fraudulent, so we got to do something about it, and da da da, just like kind of stoking the fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see. The only thing that I am kind of thrown about, though, is that it strikes me as insane that they took him off of like every fucking like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's like, to me, I'm sitting there thinking, like, is it not wild that the literal president of the United States has been taken off of every fucking social media thing? That's crazy to me.
It is crazy, but also like, look at what he was able to do with that account. Like, literally, I don't know if it was like 100,000 people, but it looked like it.
Yeah.
Were fucking like storming the Capitol building.
Yeah, I mean it to say, like, just to put in a little thing here.
And I get that it's like,
Yeah.
it's definitely, unprecedented because it's never happened before, and it probably shouldn't ever happen again. But also, it's like, this isn't like the normal case of
Yeah.
like, this is like a weird, like a fire burning out bright right
Yeah,
before it goes
Yeah,
out,
burn.
and like trying to stop anything further from happening.
Yeah, it annoys me.
Like
That-
and like
yeah.
you were saying earlier about the impeachment thing, it's kind of the same thing where it's like, all right, he only has 10 days
Yeah.
left or whatever now. Like, why take it away? But also, it's like, I don't know. I can see them doing the social media stuff more than I can see the impeachment. Honestly.
Well, yeah, the social media stuff in theory is different because you're talking about basically big tech just doing something versus the impeachment is obviously more like government involved or anything like that.
Yeah.
The only thing that annoys me, I guess, not doesn't annoy me, but that I always try to keep in perspective is that of the millions and millions of people at the rally, there are a minority of people who wind up doing that crazy shit. Just like, it's the same way when the conservative media tried to delegitimize the Black Lives Matter rallies because they could find examples. And obviously this is a different thing and like a different scale. But it's like when you take out like the small group of people that went and did something completely ridiculous and then say that that's like representative of the movement itself, it kind of like, to me, there's a lot of stuff that I do see as not even on a political level. There's a lot of stuff that strike me as kind of like, in one way they'll say like, for the rallies, like the defund the police stuff like that, be like mostly peaceful. And yeah, you and I were there, and they were mostly peaceful. Mm-hmm. But everyone also acknowledges that there were, fucking go to Seattle and they occupied an entire section of the city for 2 weeks and wouldn't let people in or out or anything like that. And it wasn't until they called in the fucking National Guard and stuff like that to open up the city again. And it's like, that happened too. And I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong. I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at it as like, okay, this thing about storming the Capitol is definitely like the biggest version of that. Mm-hmm. But also it's not like that happened in a vacuum, And I think that's partly a lot of the reasons why so many people were stupid enough to like just dox themselves and think that nothing was going to happen because, I mean, really, like we've been watching this shit go on for 8 months. Been watching people take over government buildings and occupy parts of the city and do things like that, and then all of a sudden, you know, people almost get this kind of thing in their head where they're like, oh, this is just what you're allowed to do now. And then these fucking idiots go out and they fucking storm the Capitol building and
But
say their name
people
out
weren't
loud.
like getting away with that shit.
Yeah.
In other situations, too. Like it wasn't accepted.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And also, like for most of like the big marches and rallies, they got permits. They got everything like above board. Like that was like a spontaneous, just like. I hate the word like everyone keeps calling it like an insurrection or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just like a frenzied mob, just
Yeah.
like given a direction, and then they went and did the thing, and you could tell they didn't really understand what they were doing because they just went in and didn't do anything really. They
Yeah.
like, just started like looting shit from the Capitol. Like someone apparently stole like AOC's shoes from her fucking room.
Oh,
Like,
no.
just like a bunch of fucking horny idiots, like, and just like getting whipped up into a frenzy and then literally just being let loose.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't mean to, when I say any of this stuff, say that I'm, you know, downplaying or anything like that. I was more so referring to, I was trying to bring it to a point where I guess looking at
I don't think I think what you're saying is like it was a conditioned thing where like they kept seeing the other side do something, so then they thought it was right.
they thought it was like,
I think they saw the other side do something, and then they're like, "Hey, we want to do that,"
yeah,
and then
Yeah.
they just like fucked it up because they had been given the wrong information of what had been going down.
yeah,
Like they had got the news of all the protests that had been going on over the summer for like whatever Black Lives Matter, anti-police brutality shit. Like they got the worst information from that, and then when they went to go mimic it, they mimicked all the worst.
yeah, yeah. Well, I guess the big question is when it comes to, because the only thing that really disturbs me, it actually does in a way, not disturbs me, but it just kind of like, it strikes me as, again, we talked about how in the year 2020, things that you never would have expected that would kind of start to seem normal have become normal to the point where if this would have happened in any other year, it would have been like this unbelievable fucking thing.
Well, and no, I completely agree on that part where like, as it was going down, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh my God, I need to get like a bug out bag going or
Yeah,
anything
exactly,
like that.
exactly.
I wasn't like flipping a lid. I was just like, really? Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on?
It almost seems as if it's like if that would have happened any other year.
But
I would've been
also,
like,
it
"Ooh."
wasn't like even watching it as it was unfolding, I could kind of understand that like nothing too crazy was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like even though they did apparently find like fucking like a bomb out of the RNC in a DNC office
A bomb?
that didn't go off.
Oh, okay.
It didn't go off. They found him, but like outside of that, I mean, you know, I think a cop died unfortunately.
Yeah. One just
This
killed
is
himself
this
over
has
the
been like a
weekend, too.
weird thing where it was like you didn't know what side to be on.
Yeah, yeah.
But like it was weird to see a bunch of like people who have been anti-police brutality being like, all right, well this time it's cool, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like, definitely hit him this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which also it's like, yeah, I don't care. Like
Yeah.
in that situation either, to be honest. But
Mm-hmm.
it was weird to see the footage of them just being like let in by the Capitol Police. It was also
I just think they weren't adequate. I don't think they expected that.
I don't think
It's
they
like,
expected
dude,
it at all.
if that would have become like an actual showdown, like there's too many fucking people. Like I think that they were staffed like a regular day. Like, yeah, if a couple fucking rogue lunatics try to break in, we can take them out. But it's like
Yeah.
you're getting fucking mobbed out. It's like you're fucking. I was watching videos of the guy just like running up the steps
Yeah.
It's just like, what are you gonna fucking do? It's like 7 people charging after you. You're one fucking dude. What are you gonna do? Just
Yeah.
fucking run.
It's like the
you know?
end of 300, where like
Exactly.
all the fucking soldiers are coming up, and they're just like down to their last fucking like 10 dudes,
Yeah.
and you're just like, fuck. But they didn't stand strong, dude.
Yeah. It just, when the way I look at it, it's like, it doesn't surprise me that happened. Doesn't surprise me at all, because from what I've been observing and from what I've been thinking for the past year, which is that this shit is only going to keep escalating. It's only going to get worse. And I wholeheartedly believe I would be more surprised if the inauguration, I don't know if they're going to do it like remotely or what, on the 20th, or what is it, 24th or 20th?
I don't know, something
doesn't
around
matter.
there.
Whatever fucking day that thing happens, I mean, I almost expect something worse to happen.
I hope not.
I hope not, but it's like, it's almost like, it's like, okay, this thing happened, boom, boom, boom. And it almost like I said, these things don't happen in a vacuum. And like, I think the reason why people weren't as shocked as they were just kind of intrigued by what's going on, like, wow, this is happening, this is interesting. But I don't think anybody was like floored at the possibility of this happening, is because it almost seemed like the next, like if you were just sitting here going like, okay, what's going to happen next? And you're like, oh, that's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here going, well, what's going to happen next? And I guarantee you, whatever the fuck happens next, it might be crazy. I do think something else is going to happen. I don't fucking know. I don't see how that just stops. Like, now we're at this point. And now it just goes away. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I'm not hoping
I don't
for
even
it.
like. I don't even like verbalizing that stuff.
I don't want to speak it into existence.
Don't do that, dude.
I'm just being honest with what I'm feeling in my head. I would be lying to you if I sat here and said, I think that what we saw last Wednesday was the climax of everything we're ever going to see.
I hope, I'm not gonna like give it terms like that, but I hope it is like a eye-opening experience for people to be like, oh shit, okay, yeah, we need to fucking be better as a country.
Yeah, yeah. I hope so too. That part, I think that's one of the good takeaways from it, if you're going to have a takeaway from it, is that pretty much everyone across the board agrees that was wrong. Like, you're not really going to talk to anyone, including Trump himself, that's going to say that he's glad that people stormed the Capitol. So, I mean, at least we can all be unified on that front, No matter what side of political aisle you're on, very few people are sitting there going like, yeah, I'm glad that happened, So that's a good takeaway. But still, what kind of, it still does get me is that it does strike me as kind of like, whoa, what the hell is happening when you have all the major social media outlets kind of in unison just deplatform a sitting president of the United States, where it's almost kind of, it makes me wonder like, damn, we're at a point where like, I understand they're private companies and everything like that, they have the right to do it, but it's like we're at the point now where the tech industry now decides for the American people, if we're allowed to hear what the president says. I
don't know.
It's like,
I think it's
kind of crazy.
It is. It's kind of crazy, but also it's like the only other president to even have Twitter was Barack Obama. Twitter hasn't been around that long.
Yeah.
Like in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it seems crazy just because like the time and like, I don't know. I think like in the grand scheme of things, it's not too crazy.
Yeah. I mean, look, do I think it's all about, to me, it's like a symbolic thing, because as the whole deplatforming thing has been going on for a while. Like, it's obviously started, I think the first big thing was like, the first thing that everybody was talking about was Alex Jones. And everybody was like, okay, so they take some.
But also it's like, sure, he's like quote unquote deplatformed, but is he really? He still finds his way onto every single platform. Like, he's still on Rogan, like I don't think
Alex Jones?
Alex
You're saying?
Jones,
Oh, okay.
and like, he's always saying he's banned on YouTube, but that's the only other place I've ever seen Alex Jones videos.
Yeah.
And they seem very up to date.
Yeah. No. He has his own like thing that he can communicate on. Mm-hmm. I was just saying that was the first example of like when everybody was talking about like, oh, they took him off, because they took other people off Twitter too, and random people that I can't think of. I think like Milo Yiannopoulos or something like that, and like Gavin McInnes and people like that. And you're sitting there, okay, these are like right wing people. It's not all right wing people. There's left wing people, I think, that got deplatformed, I think. But like you're thinking, okay, these are just people that got taken off, and that's fine. And people go, well, that they're just like the fringe. They're the fringe people. So like we're just going to remove the fringe people. And then the argument pushing back was like, well, once we can start removing the fringe people, you've kind of set the precedent for basically you can remove anybody. And again, I understand that it's a private company, they can do what they want. But clearly now, when you get to the point where now they can take the actual literal president of the United States and take him off, it's like, oh, okay, so it is kind of getting to the point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where now all of a sudden it's not just some crazy right-wing lunatic or something like that. Now it's an actual president. Now it's the actual president. And that's based off of what I consider to be, here's what I find, here's the only thing, because I agree with you on
I just don't think it's like any sort of, it's not like a violation of freedom of speech.
It's not.
It's just like, I don't know. I think Twitter just doesn't want to be brought into court for like war crimes, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Because literally, like, I'm sure, like 5 or 10 years from now, they probably could be.
Yeah. Well, here's what it's not even really the Twitter thing. It's not really the Facebook and Instagram thing. The biggest thing that I thought was odd was where now this is what kind of got me to the point where I was like, because when I saw Twitter, it's like, who fucking cares? Like, I go on Twitter or whatever. The president gets removed from Twitter. Who fucking cares? But then you get to, you heard about like that new app Parler or whatever. Did you hear about that at all?
Oh, that's like the right wing Twitter. Or
it's
something,
basically,
right?
I guess it's mostly, I would imagine it's mostly right wing, probably 90%. I've never been on it. I don't fucking know.
I'm pretty sure it's 100% right wing.
Well, I think it's just,
I'm sure maybe there is like 10% like left wing people on there trolling.
Yeah, probably.
But like, yeah.
So I don't want to say all, because I'm sure there are people that are just going on there to see what it's about. But I think their whole thing was like, we're just a free, quote unquote, free speech, outlet for people to go on where we're not going to be banning people and taking people down for community violations. It's just an open, forum for people to say and just network however they want. And then you have Google Play and remove them from the App Store. Apple remove them from the App Store. Amazon not only remove them from their App Store, but Amazon owns like a large percentage of like the servers that even people use to like host sites.
Yeah, AWS.
Yeah, and they don't even allow Parler to use the servers or anything like that. And that was at the point where it was like, and look, the justification is always going to be, and this is I guess what I get to when I talk about like a slippery slope thing, because in any time and instance, you could look at what happened at the Capitol building and say, that's an example of, this, that, the other thing. But my question is, the justification is that Trump's rhetoric about the election being fraudulent is what ultimately culminated in a large group of people being motivated to storm the Capitol. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
The question is, how do you define, I guess, because up until now, there's always been this thing saying like, okay, free speech is X, Y, Z, unless you're inciting violence. If you're calling for violence, that's when it gets struck out. If you're trying to incite a riot, if you're trying to do that. I'm not aware of Donald Trump ever doing anything to actually, I don't think he planned on that. I don't think anyone outside of like the fringe groups who probably organized that under wraps or whatever planned on that. But then the narrative becomes that it was Trump's rhetoric that caused that, which to me, honestly, sounds kind of ironic considering that for the past 4 years prior, you had major mainstream media outlets claiming that the 2016 election was fraudulent or that it was hacked or there was collusion or anything like that. Not just a couple fringe people. Turn on CNN, turn on MSNBC, turn on anything, listen to anything. That narrative went not just, the 4 weeks between the election and the inauguration. That went on up until like last year.
Yeah.
3 years into the presidency, all kinds of people, not just fringe people, like I said, major media outlets were delegitimizing that election. Yeah. And if something would have spurred out of that, where people decided to do something like that, which luckily they didn't, you could have easily carried that argument and been like, well, it was the mainstream media pushing this narrative that our election was hacked by foreign people and Trump colluded and blah, 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 blah. That caused this violence. I just find it odd that now we are at the point where we can say that if you say something against this narrative, we can now just connect the dots and say, well, that led to this, and now you're not allowed to say anything like that anymore. And that, to me, I guess, is what I'm talking about, the slippery slope. You know, where you look at what happened last week, and it sucks. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, how far are we going to take this? Because now you're not now it's one thing to say, hey, we're Twitter, and we don't want you to be saying shit like that on our platform. And we are a private business, and we have every right to say who can and cannot be on our platform and who can say what and where.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But now you're talking about basically a small group of tech companies that are able to not only enforce what's on their platforms, but now make it impossible, virtually impossible, for any other platform to come up that might allow it. And that, to me, crosses the bridge from, is this a free market thing? It's a free market thing when you say, hey, this is my company, I don't want you doing that shit on my company. Mm-hmm. It's a whole different thing when a large group of dominating monopolistic companies team up together and say, we're not even like, oh, it used to be a thing where we'd say, hey, if you don't like Twitter, get the hell off Twitter and make your own Twitter. Now, they tried it. Now they're saying you can't even make your own Twitter. You can't even do that. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
That to me is where it just crosses into a weird territory for me. I don't want to normalize that, I guess is what I'm saying. Right now, it seems fine, I guess, to a lot of people because of everything else we've seen for the past year. But when you start, it all comes down to when you start making it a normal thing to say that any type of, like, if once you allow the gap to be, if you say this, it could ultimately lead to this. Therefore, anything that you say that we find that we can link to that, we're going to say you can't say that. Mm-hmm. You know? And I don't want to be sitting there going, okay, so if somebody questions this or questions that, then we're going to automatically link that to, well, this could ultimately do this, because that's how censorship, again, right now, it's still a very gray area because obviously, you know, they're still private companies, but at the same time, it's like, that's where the vast majority of people are communicating. That's where the vast majority of people are at. And so it's one thing to just say you can't be on that. But then once you say, we're not even going to, we, the big companies that control everything, aren't even going to allow you to make your own thing?
Well, you're just saying Amazon banned them. They could probably go to any other web host server. And yeah, I get that the app stores took them down or whatever, but also it's like, they'll probably be able to find some. They'll you know, mm-hmm. do the classic thing of overseas exporting the work overseas.
Yeah. Well, I think there just needs to be a link between. We look at whether you agree with it or not, whether you think the election was fraudulent or not, whether you like Trump or not. That's a whole irrelevant to me at this point. What I think should be acknowledged is that this is an election in which Donald Trump received 75 million votes or something like that. Joe Biden received more than that. Both of them received more votes in this election than any other presidential candidate in the history of elections. Yeah. So that means that Donald Trump, outside of Joe Biden, received more votes for president than any other person who's ever ran for president in American history. And so to attack the narrative of 75 million people who voted in that direction and treat that the same way you would treat some fringe lunatic like Alex Jones, to link that to me seems kind of like, that's where I go like, wait a second. I could understand if it's just some fucking Milo Yiannopoulos type of troll that is just going out and saying shit to piss people off. But you're forgetting that these are two people that half the country, literally half the voting population was on his side. Mm-hmm. And now you have a small group of unelected people that pretty much control the internet for all intents and purposes between the lot of them that are now deciding, hey, I know half of America voted in this direction, but we, the tech companies, are going to say, no, you can't even, we're not even going to, you know what I mean? We don't even think you should be allowed to hear what he says.
But also, you know, you always talk about free market and everything. Like, then that just opens up half of the country to stop using those services and start their own and make the next fucking Silicon Valley in Idaho or some bullshit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was what I was thinking before. And then once this whole thing about them not even allowing, like, that's just really where I thought they crossed the line. Like, it's just so weird to say that.
Also, it's probably going to be a thing now that it's in the spotlight. Like, I think, like, I'm not arguing against any of the shutdowns or bans or anything. I don't really give a shit. I didn't even know what Parler was until this week. And also, it's like, really, like, you're going to try to beat Facebook or Twitter. One company tries to do that like every other year.
Yeah.
And they get buzzed for like 3 weeks and then it gets shut down because they don't have enough money. It's not going to work. Like, you got to create the next thing that doesn't exist yet. That's how Facebook became popular. That's how Twitter, Instagram, all that shit. I guess Facebook just ripped off MySpace, but that's besides the point.
They beat them.
I just, I don't know. I think this is going to be an issue for like the next couple of weeks, but once Biden gets in and things settle down a little bit, I don't think it's going to be like a lasting trend of just like outside of like shit that they should shut down. Like, let's say fucking, you know, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, or whatever, when like ISIS was starting out and they figured out they were using like Twitter DMs and shit.
Yeah.
They got kicked off Twitter.
Okay.
Like, what do you feel about that?
Well, again, I'm on the same page with you when it comes to a private company being able to exercise its right to enforce whoever uses their platform. I don't disagree with you on that. My only point of contention was, like you were talking about, why don't they just start their own thing? When you get to a point, because we all understand how fucking money works and how everything works like that.
I understand that they have to start from zero, but also if it's a thing where, like, if we're trying to break this down into, okay, the big tech corporations are more left-leaning and they're sort of suppressing right voices right now in a way, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a right-leaning fucking billionaire, which I'm sure all of them are, like, especially just for tax reasons alone.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just be like, oh, okay, fuck, I could make a quick another billion if I just invest in buying a server farm and letting everyone fucking migrate over real quick. It'll be like a gym. I'll set it up. They'll migrate over. They won't do shit with the website. It'll fail, but I'll still get my money.
Yeah. I understand a lot more about computers than I do. I don't really fucking know how any of that shit works. I was just looking at it from the standpoint of, like, a lot of these companies will only make a move like that because they don't want to be the company that didn't make the move like that. You know what I mean? Like, let's say Twitter was the first one to pull the trigger on deplatforming Donald Trump. At that point, Facebook and Instagram, who are the same thing, Facebook owns Instagram, they're going, well, we don't want to be the platform that doesn't do that. You know, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing you saw with the Black Lives Matter stuff earlier in the year with all the NFL leagues. Like, nobody wanted to be the league that didn't start making the whole thing about, like, you know, having people link up and do stuff. The Major League Baseball didn't want to be the one league that was like, we're just going to keep on just playing baseball if that's cool with everybody else. You know what I mean? So, and that's why it pissed me off watching that, because you could just tell that all this shit was so canned and phony because they were literally only doing it to you know, cover their asses. And so I don't think that the owners of the Major League Baseball really actually gave a fuck that much. I don't think the owners of the NFL really gave a shit that much. I think that every single major corporation, I don't think that Nike really gives a shit that much when they're paying people slave wages in Indonesia and then they want to advocate for human rights in America. I don't think they really actually care that much. I think they're doing things to save face and to put out an image to the public. And I think part of that pressure to put out that image to the public is when Twitter does something, Facebook and Instagram don't want to be the people who don't do it, because then people would say, well, Twitter must be, endorsing hate speech and white supremacy and things like that. So now now Facebook's got to do it or something like that. And so, Amazon made the next step and said, well, we're not even going to allow any of these platforms. It's not even people now. It's not even people. You're not saying this person can't use our server. You're saying anyone who wants to build anything that has to do with anything that doesn't align with what we think, we're not even going to allow it. We're not even going to allow it. And so then Amazon does that.
I don't know. I think you're blowing it up more than it actually is, like the scale of things. Like, yes, their apps got taken down, but I'm sure the website's still up. I'm sure they have a mobile version. I'm sure if people are actually dedicated to that shit, they're actually on it or donating to it, like the few amount of people that actually donate to Wikipedia. Like, I think, I don't know. It might just be not as easily acceptable or like whatever, but at the end of the day, like, I remember like starting like this video project we're on, this like super long one about hunting, going into like hunting groups and shit, like me just asking for help or like any whatever, they'd just be like, oh, you joined, this is your first post and you're asking to see clips of people hunting, or if you want to be in a video, get this soy boy out of here, all this shit. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they don't want new people coming in? Like, what? And I think, if anything, the people who are on that website, they probably don't want, like, Parler to be on the fucking front page of iTunes or whatever. Like, when they open the phone, they don't want, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like they're just creating, like, their safe space,
Yeah. I think with your gun thing, you probably are dealing with a lot of fucking gun nuts that are all super paranoid that they're going to come to take our guns, and they thought you were probably some kind of fucking, like, undercover op, like, hey, send me some videos of you guys using guns and stuff. I'm new to this whole thing. I don't know. I'm not saying obviously that's not what you're doing, but I think that there's a lot of people in those fucking gun groups that, like, they're those type of people. They're those type of people who think they probably have like fucking cans of shit in their basement for when the apocalypse happens and shit.
Like, that same mindset of person is the one who's pissed off at Twitter and going to Parler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel bad for that type of person, because at the end of the day, that type of mentality and shit is very unhealthy. So if getting people's access to that gets cut in half a little bit, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I actually feel
like,
the same way about those.
It's just like a thing where, like, I understand like the slippery slope mentality or whatever, and like, but at the end of the day, it's like, if something is like if people were on Twitter every day, fucking nonstop, just like harassing. I mean, I guess that's a bad example because they already are.
Yeah, that's all Twitter is, really. But.
Fuck yeah, I don't know where to go from there then.
No, it's fine. Look, I hear what you're saying, and this is the problem that I always run into, is because I never want to sound like I'm some crazy conspiratorial guy who's thinking, oh man, if they could do this, then just imagine what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
That
I don't
is most of your arguments.
That is most of my arguments. But I will say, in my defense, a lot of stuff that's happening literally right now are things that if I would have said them last year would have sounded ridiculous. But then, lo and behold, all of a sudden they do start to happen and they do start to become normal. And now things that we thought were insane a year ago are now perfectly normal and perfectly acceptable. So I never want to discount the slippery slope argument in that, yes, one day it starts with these rogue people, we're not letting them use their platform. Next it goes, this guy who is elected by the American public for the past 4 years is not allowed to use our platform. Then it goes, if anybody wants to make a platform that hosts people that say anything that doesn't go along with what we want on our platforms, we're going to collude together and make it so that they can't even do that.
Yeah.
And then,
but that's also,
and that's just what happens already.
I think that's just what happens already. That's what happened. But I think that is that company's right still. Just because, like, the same thing I was saying earlier with, like, kind of jokingly about, like, Twitter being brought up for war crimes over this shit in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, it, at the end of the day, it all comes down to fucking, they don't want to get sued. Like, let's say Parler was the place that, and I don't know, I'm just saying this out of my ass, but, like, if Parler was the place where people met and discussed the shit that happened last Wednesday, and that's where it was all planned and shit, then it's like, okay, yeah, shut it down. Like, we understand you taking it down.
Yeah.
But, I forget where I was going.
I mean, but think about this. Think about this. No, it's fine. Think about this. How many of those fucking plans do you think could have been emailed back and forth on Gmail? How many of those fucking things could have people corresponded over various other? Could have been phone calls on AT&T? Could have been fucking anything. There's to use this standard that if your platform has, like, if there's a platform in which people utilized to communicate, then therefore that platform is responsible, is almost like I just said, like, you know, so now Gmail's bad if somebody sent an email when they were corresponding about how to organize a thing. Gmail's responsible? No, clearly not. And everybody understands that. So just to me, I just think that it always becomes this, like, next step, where it's like, here we are, great. And right now we say that these ideas are unacceptable. And most people are going, yeah, well, yeah, I disagree with those ideas. So I'm totally cool with that being stomped out. But what happens when it's your ideas? What happens when, I'm just saying, like, the window of things that are now being deemed to be ridiculous, it's gone from you tell people to go out and riot to you say things that causes other people to want to go and riot now, or you say things that disagree with the narrative, and then that causes people to get angry, and then eventually somebody organize. Now that's off limits, and it's like, so where do we draw the line? At what point do we not just say?
I think the line got drawn when people went out and rioted.
Yeah, but that could happen. I guess what I'm saying is, so if somebody goes on and tweets, I don't know. I feel like we're both making, like.
Yeah, I think we both kind of get what each other is saying.
Yeah.
But we both don't want to be wrong.
No, I don't.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. To me, it's not that I really, to be honest, I tried looking into it a lot, and I'm not super invested in it. Honestly, I didn't even, I mean, when you texted me about the thing last week, I wasn't even aware of how serious it was, because I've been making a point of it to not be that involved with it, because it's just becoming so mentally taxing to constantly be on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not invested in being right. I actually hope I'm not right, because the future that I'm describing sucks. But I guess I'm just putting out there into the universe that I don't like the idea of not considering a possibility. And I just think it's something that when you see these things happening, I think it's a healthy level of awareness to be like, wow, okay, now this is what we're doing. Okay, I see what we're doing now. And then it's like, at a certain, there's got to be a point. There's got to be a point where people go, okay, wait, what are we doing now? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I think maybe for other people it's further down the line, but to me, I don't know. I don't see it going any other direction. I feel like that's when you look across history and you look across anywhere in the world, it's never this blatant thing. It's never, when you look at any type of country, I mean, we live in America, and so we don't see like the things we hear about in other countries, like China, the second biggest economy in the world, going on right now, where people are being, there's fucking genocides going on, and people are being censored, and you can't speak out against this. You can't say this against the supreme leader or whatever.
Water parks are open.
Things like that. It's like these are real things. It's not like I'm speaking like I watched a movie yesterday and I'm like, oh, I saw this fucking Manchurian Candidate, blah blah. It's like you can take a flight out to China right now and see what I'm talking about. You can go to Russia, go to the countries where people literally don't have the freedom of expression, because there's only one line, one narrative that you're allowed to say, and anything else has been deemed dangerous. And at that point, all it takes is who's doing the deeming. And if we set the precedent that these major multi-billion dollar organizations are able to determine for us what is acceptable to speak about, that means where it's like, well, how else do you think it happened? Do you think people just woke up one morning in China and somebody says, hey, you can't talk about shit anymore, and everybody just went, okay. Didn't happen like that. Slow progression, just slowly normalizing more and more. Oh, well, look, okay. Yeah, we can't say that anymore. Cool, I got it.
Yeah, but that's I feel like that's such a different scenario because for China it was always kind of like a ruling class and like kind of emperor / dictatorship type of deal. I think it's easier from there. I'm sure it was even more restricted before, and now it's probably opened up to the point where it's like, hey, we don't have a emperor anymore, but I don't say anything bad about
the party,
Winnie the Pooh or whatever. I think since they're kind of like getting less restricted on their experience, I'm sure it feels like things are getting lifted and lessened, and I think that's easier to live with. If we as a country, and we kind of got hit with it a little bit when like the Patriot Act happened and after 9/11, and I think that's what I feel like that's something that you should be more worried about than the internet shit. Is another Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act thing never really. I mean,
but,
I was too young to care at that time.
Yeah, true.
And we grew up at a time where it was just normal.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we were this age in 2002, I would have been having the same rant.
Yeah, for sure.
Guarantee it.
Yeah, but I think since we're in a, quote unquote democracy, I think it'd be harder to get. I think more people would speak out if we started getting more and more restricted. I think it'd be more of a shock to our system rather than like taking the bandages off.
Yeah. Actually, what you just said is I wanted to say something. I got to take a piss so fucking bad.
I got to
piss
birthday
cake's running right through me.
Where are you
But
going?
let me
Left
remember
side or
what you
right
just
side?
said. Huh?
Left side or right side?
I don't care. I'll vamp while you do it. That way there's no dead space. Guys, while Eric's taking a piss, this podcast, I started, Eric made fun of me for talking about the most mundane shit in the beginning, but I brought that shit all up the top because I knew that we were eventually going to talk about this, and I knew it was going to be fun. So this podcast is brought to you by quite possibly the shittiest flavor of Bang energy I've ever tasted in my life. And that's saying something because last week I thought cotton candy was the worst. But this week is brought to you by Birthday Cake Bash. It's terrible, guys. I don't know what the hype is about Bang. It definitely gets you hyped up. Definitely makes you want to argue about free speech and shit. But it does not taste good at all. And I don't think that that's acceptable in 2021 when there's many energy drinks that do taste good. I don't understand how Bang gets away with not tasting good and still being so popular. And it truly does confound me. I just I gave the worst plug for Bang birthday cake ever. You want to plug something good?
Okay, I'll give a plug and then I'm gonna blow your mind when you get back in here.
Okay.
This segment of the podcast is brought to you by Deer Park water. I hope people hate these parts of the podcast because I don't think Jimmy edits them out. So Deer Park, established 1873, 100% natural spring water. And Deer Park, the brand, it comes with 500 milliliters of water. It's empty and replace capped plastic bottle. Wait, that's how to recycle it. I thought those were the ingredients. One cap. One serving size is one cap. Connecticut, New York, 5-cent refund. I always kind of got pissed off as a kid that I didn't get money for recycling things. Maryland isn't a state where you can just like turn in a bunch of cans. Because when I was a kid, we'd go over to my grandma's house on my mom's side every Friday, and everyone would just chief sodas and beers, and they had this like old school can crusher. And I remember that was always my favorite thing to do. But I never, since I lived in Maryland, could get that 5-cent refund. It was always elusive. And that was like the only thing I thought I could make money with as a kid.
If only we lived in Connecticut or New York.
I know, that's what I was just saying. So let me blow your mind real quick.
Okay.
I went out to pee. Without even thinking, I just went through my motions. Zipper. I zippered.
Yes.
But I do have jeans on. I do have my shirt tucked in. 'Cause I have my undershirt under my sweatshirt tucked in.
That's classy.
Because I'm wearing sweatpants as underwear. So I zipped and pulled. I did both.
That just went from super classy to super not classy
Super
real
trashy.
quick. Dude. Super trashy, dude. I was with you for a second, bro. I was like,
know.
hell yeah.
Blew your mind though, right?
That did blow my fucking mind.
Zip and tuck.
Wow. I was saying while you were gone, we were joking about how I talked about the most stupid shit in the beginning. And that's because I knew we were going to wind up talking about this.
Yeah,
I was just
for
like
an hour.
I was like, we might as well just get all this other boring shit I have in my fucking thing out of the way.
Yeah.
But
I think one of the craziest things that happened that like it's like super sad and unfortunate, but I definitely laughed at it was the dude who went to storm the Capitol, but accidentally like Plaxico Burressed his balls with a taser and killed himself.
he killed himself,
He
tasing his
died.
balls.
He died from a self-tase to the nuts, dude. Can you imagine?
That literally just gave me a chill.
It is also cold.
It's cold. That does not help. I don't know if I would have been as emotionally struck in the summertime, but something about the weather and that
Yeah.
story combined.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. That's just a terrible way to go out. It's just
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's just nobody wants to like. That's one of those situations where it's like, you know, like a family might have a kid who died of an overdose, but like you don't want to tell people that he died of an overdose.
Yeah.
See, they say something else. He died of COVID. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Or like
Yeah.
someone who like jerks off with like choking themselves and
Yeah,
they die
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
The family's never gonna say
Yeah.
that.
That is a guy who does not want his real death reported. That is a guy who probably didn't believe in COVID and now wants to be reported as a COVID death. If you could ask, that's a guy who's like, just put me down as a COVID death, please.
He's the only guy actively trying to have a falsified record.
Yeah. But
Jesus. Yeah.
I
Can you
was-
imagine how many people got COVID last week from that shit? Because
Yeah.
you know a ton of people went there not believing it was real.
Yeah, probably
Like
not.
I saw a clip from the rally where some like guy was like, "If you were a true believer in God, take off your mask right now." And I was like, "No fucking way."
They're gonna
Like,
do it.
Jesus Christ.
They're gonna do it.
And then like I think I saw people tweeting about like screenshots of random people trying to like be like, "That's that guy. That's that guy." Someone was like, "That's that guy," and he went there knowingly that he tested COVID positive like 2 days ago.
Jeez.
So that
Yeah.
shit was there.
Yeah. Oh, of course it was, dude. How many million people are there?
I don't know about million, but there was a ton of fucking people.
Hundreds, thousands, maybe. I don't fucking
That's
know.
what it looked like.
More
It looked
than-
like 100,000.
More than a Ravens game. And can't have
Dude,
fans
it
in
looked like
this.
more than his inauguration. Which
Probably.
was kind of crazy.
He might never admit that, but probably.
Yeah, it's the one thing he wants to admit, but he can't.
can't.
He can't brag about how many people showed up. Like, you know, he wants to brag.
definitely wants
He wants to tweet a picture of that crowd being like, "Went out with a bang," but his Twitter got taken away.
He got
He's
got
in
triple
timeout,
stoned.
dude. He can't brag about that shit anymore. Oh my god.
Oh man.
I mean, yeah.
I'd tell you what I was
They're
hoping for,
definitely,
though.
They're definitely kneecapping him on the way out.
I'd tell you what
Which
I
is kinda
was
funny.
hoping for was he was threatening to declassify a bunch of stuff. And the conspiracy-minded person in me was like, ooh, what if he was about to fucking say that, like, what if he was about to fucking declassify, like, the alien
That Russia
shit?
is ran by the DNC.
Who knows what we could have found out? Like, as an American, I want to know. I want to know. Aliens. I want to know.
They're kind of talking about it already.
Yeah, they're talking about it.
They're
but it's like-
letting little things slip out.
he said he was going to declassify stuff, and now, how do you think he would have done it? Do you think he would have tweeted it? Do you think he
No.
would have tweeted a
course
picture of
not.
an alien?
No.
How
He
would
would
he
have
done
had
it?
like a giant ass press conference. He would have scheduled another daily press conference, like just to be like every day, be like, and then check out this picture of an alien. This one looks like a little bit like lion Ted over there. A little bit like
Man, did.
it looks like one of those Martians from Space Jams took Lion Ted Cruz's fat little powers away from him. And became a monster. A Monstar, I should say.
Man, that is the one thing I really just kind of want to see. I want to see, like, I want to see if the government was involved in JFK assassination. They know that shit.
Yeah.
They know that shit.
I mean, but also I feel like there's no like official story on that. And I don't think any official story is ever going to come out about that. But from what I've
classified.
seen and like looked into, it kind of looked like a lot of people were about to try to kill JFK that day.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the JFK assassination, other than that it was an inside job. I'm just kidding. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. But like, there's a lot of stuff that like, there's got to be. Look, at least one of those things has to be true. 9/11, JFK, the moon landing.
Yeah.
Something has got to be true.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And if I had to put my bets on anything, JFK is leaning the most in that direction. Because that was when the mob controlled everything.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in power.
Yeah. And then they're about to get like shit on.
Yeah. Very easy for me to believe that.
Yeah, yeah. For
You know?
sure.
So, and then the second most likely, moon landing. Because who cares? Who cares? Like, nobody died by faking the moon landing. That's the
Yeah.
easiest. That's a free fake. I'm not
I
saying
think-
I think it was fake, but
Yeah, I don't know. I also just think back at like what movie CG looked like back then,
yeah.
and like no, I don't think they faked that.
But then you think back to what the moon looks like, and you realize you've never seen it, and you're like, "Wait,
I
I have no
guess.
fucking clue what it would look like, even if it was." I'm not
Seen
arguing
it from like a telescope, you know?
Yeah, dude. Do you see a fucking flag up there? No.
No,
Exactly.
I don't have that big of a telescope.
Look, dude. The '60s. That was like the same time, right? Wasn't JFK the president when they put people on the moon?
Maybe
I think
don't know.
so. He was the guy who
He
like
died
started NASA.
kind of right around Vietnam, right?
He
Or
died
no?
in 19. Well, the Civil Rights Act was signed during his presidency, or it was in 63 was Civil Rights Act. But I can't remember if that was Lyndon B. Johnson who took over after JFK was assassinated because he was a vice president. But that's two major conspiracies wrapped up in one presidential term. And
He died 63. He was president from 61 to 63.
okay, and when did we land on the moon the first time?
Let me see. USA moon landing. 69.
Really?
Oh wait, let's see.
No way.
The first human-made object to touch the moon was the Soviet Union's Luna 2, September 1959. The United States Apollo 11 was the first manned crew mission to land on the moon on July 20th, 1969.
Really?
So 59, the Russians sent something there, but the first people on the moon was
Yeah, they
Americans.
just put a thing on the moon, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and they probably didn't even land. They probably just shot it at the moon, and it hit.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
that's why there's one extra crater we
Yeah.
found.
Okay. Now the moon landing fake theory is starting to hold less water. I was never pitching that it was fake, but
What's
the
the
fact that it
Vietnam
took them
War?
10 years, because my whole thing was going to be like, the Russians. I knew that the Russians put something up there first, and we were in a big arms race and big like just everything race with Russia back then.
Mm-hmm.
But if we faked it, there's no way we would have waited 10 years to fake it.
Yeah.
we would have done it like the next week.
Yeah,
Like they would have
exactly.
they would have shot the moon with like a rifle and been like, we touched it first.
Yeah, we sent the tiniest rocket to the moon.
Yeah. Trust us is up there.
Trust us. Don't check.
And then the Americans would be like, all right, somebody call up Stanley Kubrick. We're fucking doing this shit right now. We're fucking doing this shit right now. But yeah, the JFK thing, I think if I had to bet on any of the conspiracies, I would say the over-unders, since I'm now a professional gambler. And mind you, when I give you these opinions, mind you that I am a terrible gambler. So
Bet against me.
Yeah, bet against me. But I would say over-under that JFK was assassinated. I'm leaning was an inside job either by the mafia or the government, people inside the government.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 65-35 that he was that was an inside job.
That's fair.
Moon landing, I'm going to go 1585 that it was real. That it was,
That's what I was thinking. Or like
1585.
80-20 or whatever.
Yeah. And 9/11 being an inside job, 60-40.
9/11.
60-40. 9/11
That's what I'm betting.
out of 20. Out of 20.
9 out of 11.
Yeah. 9 out of 11 chance that it was fucking inside job.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Exactly.
And those are really the big three, right? There's no other conspiracies ever, right? Moon landing, JFK, and 9/11.
Yeah. Also, that 9/11 was Hitler's birthday.
Is that true?
No.
All right. So 0, 100. That was not Hitler's birthday. I'd be sick if it was.
No, I think it's 420, right? That's
Oh,
what
yeah,
everyone
it
always
is.
says.
It is. But I think that's I think that's a Googleable thing because let's look that up.
Let's check this shit out.
Okay, Google.
Okay, Google. When was Hitler's birthday?
Here we go. I don't do OK Google anymore because I think my phone sucks too much to do it. So I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. I'm going to type it. So hopefully somebody's tracking my keystrokes.
It like pops up right away. You've already searched this.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Hitler's birth date was April 20th, 1889. That's not...
Damn.
I didn't realize he was born in 1889.
1889, yeah.
For some reason, I just assumed that anyone born in the 1800s, that
Was
just seems
dead.
so old.
Yeah, it does seem really old.
But it's also crazy to think that, like,
But also, like, probably our grandparents were born in, like, the early 1900s, you know?
yeah, and
'Cause
like,
our parents were in, like, the 50s and 60s.
yeah, I think my grandparent, my
1950s, 60s.
oldest grandparent was born in 1931, but he, you know, his father was probably born in fucking 18 something,
For
which is
sure.
crazy. That seems like so long ago.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be weird, too, because we were born, you know, we're kind of in a similar situation where, like, we're born in the
beginning.
last, like, they're in the 90s, you know,
in the end,
1990.
yeah.
So, like, to our kids, they're going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, especially our like grandchildren are gonna be like, dude,
Yeah.
my grandfather was
How
born in
old are you?
1992.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like 2000 fucking 80,
be like 2890.
2890.
We're in fucking tubes.
when we finally have
We're in
kids.
tubes just gooning nonstop. Our kids come in on
Yeah, dude.
scooters.
That's fucking yeah. Speaking of that shit, I just had like a revelation the other day that like 99.99999% of people that ever lived will all be forgotten. You know what I mean? Like there's only like that's always a fun game. Name one guy from the century 800.
Yeah, no.
One guy. There was probably guys that were fucking awesome back then. Like famous guys that were probably even remembered for like 100 years after that. But now we're just like, dude, I never heard of you, bro. I never heard of you. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, dude, no matter what you do, eventually nobody's gonna remember. And that's what keeps me going through life, really. It's just
Yeah.
knowing that no matter what I do, nobody's gonna remember. Just no matter how long it takes them to forget, really.
Exactly.
And that's a good inspiring piece of life advice for everybody.
Yeah, nihilism.
None of this matters.
As you chug your birthday cake energy drink.
Bro, I want everyone to remember that this sucks.
Yeah, that shit sucks.
Oh my god, it's so bad. It's gonna keep me up all night too.
I feel like something else happened crazy.
Like me making that shot.
I didn't see it, but I heard it
didn't
going.
make it. I didn't make it.
It sounded like it went in. You shouldn't have let me look around.
But in 100 years, nobody's gonna remember. Let's see.
Exactly.
What else happened this week, dude?
I feel like I sent myself notes. But I guess not.
Notes. I feel like I had a note. No, here are my notes. Man panties,
You got that.
pet of the month,
Perfect.
Trump ban,
Yeah,
Capitol storm,
of course.
which is like the same thing, and studio. I guess yeah.
Yeah, we got it all.
We got everything, dude.
I think
covered
we've probably
the
been
last.
going for a while too, I guess.
Yeah, we're on hour 48. For some reason, it feels like we've been going way longer, but yeah, it makes sense.
That makes sense.
Works for me.
Yeah. Do you got anything coming up anytime soon?
Let's see. I don't think so, really. I don't think at all. I think I just got a gig in like February,
Hell yeah.
and that's about it.
Well, hopefully once everything gets warm again, you can start doing outside shows and shit.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. That would be fucking awesome. So,
Because right before it got cold, you were like kind of picking up pace again to be back to regular.
and then, yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. But for right now, nothing. Follow us on, follow me at Jimmy Selesky on everything. And of course, LFTS podcast across the board.
Check out Flippy and the Avalon.
Zippy.
Zippy.
Zippy. Shouts out
Clippy.
Zippy.
I was thinking Clippy too.
The real never die. I tell you what, as far as, goldfish go, one of the most famous goldfish of all time in my book. Who would have thought
Never
that
forgotten.
who would have thought that one little carnival fish from the Maryland State Fair would be talked about 15 years later?
Well, to be fair, he did get resurrected 3 times.
Yes, he did. And then posthumously won the Avalon Pet of the Month. Who would have thought
Who would
that
have thought, dude?
a small carnival goldfish
Would live such a luxurious life.
would go on to win Avalon Pet of the Month, luxury apartments in Towson?
Yeah, 15 years after his death.
Step.
15 years AD.
That fish, real ones never die, and Zippy proved that. So,
Yeah, shout out Zippy.
shouts out.
At Eric Glazer on everything. At LFTS Podcast.
On everything.
Everything. We'll see you guys next week, I guess.
I guess.
I guess.
Peace.
Peace.